Air France Flight 447, 2009. Air France Flight 447, a regularly scheduled passenger flight from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil to Paris, France, tragically ended in disaster on June 1, 2009, when the plane plunged into the Atlantic Ocean, killing all 228 people aboard. The crash of this modern Airbus A330 shocked the world and exposed significant shortcomings in aviation safety systems, pilot training, and crisis communication. This tragedy eventually led to groundbreaking reforms in air travel safety. Air France Flight 447 was operated by an Airbus A330-203, a state-of-the-art, long-haul aircraft known for its impeccable safety record. On this fateful journey, it carried 216 passengers and 12 crew members representing 32 nationalities. The A330 series, equipped with advanced technology, was designed to handle a wide range of conditions, making this accident both puzzling and deeply concerning. The journey began at 7:29 p.m. local time on May 31, 2009, when the flight departed from Rio de Janeiro Galeão International Airport. It was scheduled to arrive at Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport the next morning after crossing the Atlantic Ocean. This long-haul route traverses the Intertropical Convergence Zone, ITCZ, a region notorious for intense thunderstorms and severe weather conditions. Manning the flight deck were 3 pilots with varying levels of experience. Captain Marc Dubois, the most experienced, had over 11,000 flight hours, including significant time flying the A330. First Officer David Robert brought 6,500 flight hours to the team. First Officer Pierre-Cédric Bonin, the youngest and least experienced, had 2,900 flight hours, most of which were on smaller aircraft. Their ability to function as a cohesive team would soon be tested under extraordinary circumstances. Shortly after midnight, as Flight 447 approached the ITCZ, the aircraft encountered towering thunderstorm systems common in this region. These tropical storm systems pose risks of severe turbulence and extreme icing conditions, presenting navigation challenges even for well-trained, experienced aviators. At 2:10 a.m. UTC, as the plane passed through icy cloud formations, its pitot tubes, small instruments critical for measuring airspeed, became obstructed by ice crystals. This malfunction rendered airspeed readings unreliable and triggered an automatic disengagement of the autopilot and auto-thrust systems. The loss of these systems forced the pilots into a high-stress manual flight situation at cruising altitude, a scenario rarely encountered. Faced with unreliable airspeed data and heavy turbulence, First Officer Bonin, who had control of the airplane, became disoriented. He mistakenly pulled back on the control stick, causing the aircraft to climb steeply, a maneuver unsuitable for such conditions. The dramatic ascent led to an aerodynamic stall, where the wings lost their ability to generate lift. Despite the stall warnings sounding repeatedly in the cockpit, the crew failed to implement proper recovery techniques. Confusion, stress, and inadequate communication further exacerbated their ineffective responses. Over the next 3.5 minutes, the stalled aircraft descended at an alarming rate, falling nearly 38,000 feet. At 2:14 a.m. UTC, Flight 447 impacted the Atlantic Ocean at high speed, leaving no survivors. The sudden and catastrophic nature of the tragedy raised questions about pilot training and how the advanced systems aboard the A330 performed under emergency conditions. When Flight 447 failed to arrive in Paris on schedule, a multinational search operation was launched. Within 5 days, debris and bodies were found floating approximately 680 miles northeast of Brazil's coast. However, much of the wreckage, including the vital black boxes, remained hidden in the ocean's depths, complicating efforts to piece together the sequence of events. The hunt to recover the flight's flight data recorder, FDR, and cockpit voice recorder, CVR, spanned nearly 2 years. Advanced sonar systems and remotely operated underwater vehicles scoured over 17,000 square kilometers of seafloor before finally locating the black boxes in May 2011. These recordings played a crucial role in understanding the causes of the crash and resolving the mystery surrounding the incident. The Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis for Civil Aviation Safety, BEA, France's aviation authority, conducted a meticulous investigation. Analyzing data from the recovered black boxes, along with environmental and technical factors, their findings uncovered a combination of mechanical failures and human errors. Two main causes for the crash were identified. Pitot tube icing. The temporary blockage of the pitot tubes caused unreliable airspeed readings, leading to the disengagement of automated systems and leaving the pilots to face an unexpected emergency. Pilot error. Under stress and disoriented by unreliable data, the crew failed to apply proper stall recovery techniques, worsening the situation despite multiple warnings. The investigation shed light on human limitations under pressure. Stress and workload, potential panic and inexperience undermined First Officer Bonen's ability to react correctly during the crisis. Communication breakdowns. A lack of assertive communication and role clarity among the three pilots hindered coordinated decision-making. The design of the A330's stall warning system also contributed to confusion. Many pilots lacked adequate familiarity with high-altitude stall recovery techniques due to gaps in training programs. These systemic issues sparked debates about modern cockpit automation and pilot dependency on such systems. The Air France Flight 447 tragedy brought a paradigm shift in aviation safety protocols, training practices, and technological improvements. Airlines around the world enhanced training programs to focus on fundamental manual flying skills, particularly at cruising altitudes, and effective stall recovery techniques. Simulation-based training for scenarios involving high-altitude turbulence and system malfunctions became a global standard. Airbus and other manufacturers collaborated to develop improved pitot tubes resistant to icing, dramatically reducing the likelihood of similar failures in the future. These upgraded designs are now standard in most commercial aircraft. International regulatory bodies, such as EASA and FAA, introduced stricter pilot certification requirements and new procedures for dealing with cockpit emergencies. These changes addressed gaps in existing safety frameworks, ensuring pilots are better trained to handle crises involving system malfunctions and manual controls. Following the crash, Air France offered financial compensation and emotional support to the victims' families. However, this compensation did not erase feelings of grief or frustration with the investigation process. Many families pursued legal action against both Air France and Airbus, seeking accountability for the tragedy. Several memorials were constructed to honor the lives lost. These include poignant installations in France, Brazil, and other countries with victims aboard Flight 447. These spaces serve as enduring symbols of grief and resilience, keeping the memory of the passengers and crew alive. The crash of Air France Flight 447 remains one of aviation's most somber chapters, claiming 228 innocent lives. It exposed critical vulnerabilities in modern aviation, including over-reliance on automated systems, gaps in pilot training, and deficiencies in crisis management within the cockpit. These hard lessons led to transformative changes that continue to benefit air travel safety today. While families grieve the immense loss, the legacy of those who perished is one of progress. Advances in pilot training, technological enhancements like ice-resistant pitot tubes, and stricter safety protocols have made skies safer for millions of travelers worldwide. Flight 447 serves as a chilling reminder of the complexities of aviation, yet its tragedy underscores humanity's ever-present drive to learn, adapt, and ensure never again